Hey Bulldogs, Chris Bryant here. Thanks for dropping by today. I've got a fantastic CCNA Security video practice exam for you. And I say that because this one has even more lab work than usual. And especially if you have not seen this particular topic before, I'm going to bring the next screen up in about 15 seconds with 5 questions on it. If you have never seen this before, or you're just getting started on your studies, you haven't gotten to it yet, hang in there and wait, because I've got a great lab that's going to show you all these commands and exactly why we do this. So what the heck am I talking about? Let's jump into the questions and find out. Question 1, what 2 commands launch the Cisco iOS Resilient Configuration feature? These commands can be run separately, but they are generally run in tandem. Question 2, what command verifies this feature and shows you the file names and the other settings? Question 3, where are the files saved to with this feature? I can hear my English teacher now. It's to where are the files saved? As long as you know where they are, I don't care how you say it. Question 4, can you launch this feature remotely? And then question 5, can you deactivate this feature remotely? Important things to know. We're going to find out on a live Cisco router in about 30 seconds. Want to invite you to my CCNA Security Video Bootcamp. The response has been tremendous to all my Udemy courses, and I'm thanking the community with a big special here. The entire course will be posted by mid-December 2012, and I've got about 12 videos up there for you now to watch. I'm adding to it just about daily. And when you use the code Bulldog68, you're going to be able to get your CCNA Security certification with me for $39. I'm not going to ask you for another dime to watch all the rest of the videos I put up. That's one price and it covers all the videos. So jump in now because you lock in the lowest price. The price will go up in December. And of course you get to start watching the course now. And as I post it, it's a pretty good deal. So let's jump on into the answers to these questions. Let me go ahead and bring up the live equipment. And let's go ahead and get that off the screen. I'm actually skipping around a little bit here on the whiteboard because this is actually the verification command, show secure boot set. And usually when we run a show command and there's nothing for us to be shown, the command, the iOS line, the command line will just drop one blank line and then go right back to the prompt. Well, in this case, it's telling you the iOS image and configuration resilience is not active. So we're going to fix that right now. Let's look at iOS help here for the secure command. And believe it or not, there are only 2 options. And these are the 2 we need to know, boot config and boot image. The description's a little different. One says it's archiving something. The other one, boot image, says it's securing the running image. Basically, we're doing the same thing. We are making a backup copy of this. And we will go ahead and run boot image here. Again, you don't have to run both commands, but it's a good idea. And you'll see immediately we get a log message, resilience, active, successfully secured running image. Now let's go ahead and take care of that config. And we're going to get a little more output with this one. It's a very similar message. It mentions the config resilience. And also at the very end of this output, it's going to show you exactly where it copied the file and what the file name is. And you'll notice that does end in .ar. So let's go back to the whiteboard for just a moment. We saw the 2 commands that are used to launch this feature. We know how to verify it, but let's verify it again now. Again, that's show secure boot set, and now we're getting a lot more information. The iOS Resilience Router ID, frankly, you may go a long time in your life without ever using that. But here you can see, when both of these were activated, there's the iOS backup file, the .bin file, secure archive. It tells you how big the file is. And also down here under configuration resilience version, it shows you exactly what the file name is. That may come in handy because we're not going to cover doing the restore here, but let me just show you one quick option. I always like to give you a little something extra here. If you look at secure boot config, this is where you're going to run a restore of the config, not of the iOS image. But if you ever had to use the file that you just saved, the config file, you would use restore, and then you're going to need to know the fully qualified file path. And of course, that's where knowing show secure boot set might just help, because that's exactly where you can see the name. So we've got that so far. Now, where are the files saved to with this feature? You saw that's in Flash, and I'll tell you exactly why that is such a great thing. If you've done a lot of copying or updating iOSs, you know that most of the time copy from TFTP does pretty well, but sometimes it's more of an art form than a science, and it can occasionally be a real pain in the butt. It's also always going to be slower by definition than if you could just copy them from the same local router. And that's a great thing about the resilient configuration feature, is that the backups are on that router. You don't have to copy them from anywhere, because of course part of disaster recovery is a quick recovery. So that does help a lot. Now, can you launch this feature remotely? Well, yes, because we just did, and we were using Telnet. Now let's try to turn it off. Let's say that we have some evil character's gotten in here, and he or she is going to erase the config and reload the router, etc. But also thinks, well, you know what I'm going to do? I am going to turn off this secure boot config. So let's give that a shot and see what happens. You must be logged on the console to apply this command. Isn't that great? It even tells you, it logs the non-console access attempt. So if you're saving your logs, you're checking those every day for anything that looks kind of odd, you might think the next morning, hey, somebody was trying to use the no secure boot config command and they shouldn't have been. So that might be something you want to look into. Now let's say that I try to turn off the image config, boot image. You must be logged onto the console to apply this command. And again, that's going to generate a log message. So that is an excellent feature. So kind of an odd default here, but it does make sense that you can launch this feature via Telnet or via remote connections, SSH as well, but you can't deactivate it remotely. And that does really make sense when you think about it. So again, let's go from top to bottom here. It's a good lab for you, especially if you haven't seen this before. You saw the two commands that launch the configuration feature. You saw the little message that we get. And let's go ahead and bring that right back up again. Secure boot image and secure boot config. We got our resilience messages. We ran show secure boot set to make sure that it worked. Always trust but verify. And we know the files are saved to Flash. We know that you can launch it remotely, but you can't deactivate it remotely. And that, as a great philosopher said, is a good thing. Thanks so much for watching today's CCNA Security Video Bootcamp. Plenty more to come. So if you're watching me out on YouTube, be sure to subscribe. And thanks for making TBA part of your CCNA Security success story.